everybody? It's your girl, chibichaz.
Hello?
So, in case you guys didn't read the description on my last post or not follow me on Instagram, it's right there. Show me some love. But if you guys did not see my last post or follow me on Instagram, you guys don't know that since it is the month of October, and we all know October is all about the spooks, I think it'd be pretty cute and pretty cool if for all October, I, as your host, chibichaz, bring you the series of Spooky Time Tuesdays. I know it's already like 2 or 3 weeks into, October. Again, I fell behind on my posting schedule. Shame, shame, shame on me. But for all the rest of October, expect so much spooky time in your life. It is going to be great. So for the first episode of Spooky Time Tuesday, we will be reacting to scary animated horror stories. I actually love listening to scary stories. Actually, I got inspired to do this from one of my favorite YouTubers, Corey Kenshin. I love him. He does Spooky Scary Sundays, and yes, I kind of like reworded his title, but I like spooky. It's spooky season, so Spooky Time Tuesdays, and since I post every Tuesday, why not, But I did get inspired to him, so shout out to Corey Kenshin. Subscribe to him. Every single video that I watch in this video, I will link their channel down in my description. Please check them out because honestly, these people are amazing. So without further ado, let's get the spooks on. Boom! Did I scare you? No. You could have acted like, Chaz, you're so scary. Anyways, let's get on with the video.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
So the first video that we will be watching, it is from Llama Arts. Honestly, this man's is so creative. I think he takes stories that people send in with him, or he makes these stories up by his own. I don't really know, but these stories are legit super spooky. I've seen a couple, like only 4 or 5, and whoever the narrator is does a phenomenal job, so check them out. So the first one we will be watching is School Lockdown Story. I actually have a really big fear of a school lockdown. That is something that I fear when I'm at school. Yeah, so let's get on with this story.
It was a typical boring day in calculus, only it was Friday, 7th period, meaning the week was almost over and spring break would finally be upon us, so everybody was getting antsy in their seats, I could tell. We didn't have a test that day like a lot of my friends did with their other teachers, so our teacher in the middle of class just decided to start playing games with us on Sporkle.com. He was a very laid-back teacher like that.
At Sparkle.com. Is that an actual website? I don't know. I'm gonna try not to pause throughout this because I know how annoying that is, but...
As we were doing some brand logo quiz on Sporkle, I remember the exact moment it happened. Right after my friend answered a question,
I'm sorry, his head looked like a scrotum. Okay, carry on.
I remember the exact answer too, Adidas. The dean's voice came through the loudspeaker. He sounded panicked and frantic as he told all the teachers this was not a drill and to go into lockdown. I actually got the chills and I got goosebumps on my arms as our usually laid-back teacher too seemed panicked as he ran to turn off the lights and ushered us to the back corner of the room. We all sat in silence for about 2 minutes, and then the usual buzzing that came from a panel in the back of the room ceased, indicating that the school must have cut all the power. We all looked at each other, realizing this must be serious. A few more minutes of waiting later, we heard a man screaming at the top of his lungs coming down the hallway. 2 girls in the class actually started crying, which made all of us even more scared.
The minute I hear someone screeching in the middle of the hall, I don't care. This is probably stupid of me, actually. I would legit die. But I have put my brightness all the way down really fast, and I am texting my mom, Mama, I love you. I'm texting everybody on my phone that I love them, because at this point, I am accepting freaking death. You hear a man screeching in the hallway. Mom, I love you, and goodbye.
As the screaming got closer to the classroom, the lunatic-sounding man started banging on the lockers while screaming, "I'll kill all of you." It was at that moment that I started to fear for my life. My teacher shushed us as we all looked at each other to see our peers' reactions. The banging then moved from the lockers to our classroom door. And that's when one of the crying girls screamed no. Okay.
Becky, if you don't shut up, I swear to God, if I heard, I would. Girl, you gotta get knocked out really fast. I'm clocking you with something.
Now shut up.
Now you just put us all in danger. Like, oh my God, I would knock her clean out. I'd have somebody knock her out so she shut up. For real.
Banging on the door only grew worse as the man started screaming, "Open up." Two of the girls in the class were crying out loud now. It felt like an eternity that man was pounding at the door, but eventually he finally continued down the hallway, screaming like a mentally insane person until we could not hear him anymore. I'd say 10 minutes later, though it felt like half an hour given the situation, the dean came back on the loudspeaker explaining the situation, which was surprising for him to do. He explained that some apparently mentally unstable person entered the building and assaulted the woman sitting at the front desk, causing her to flee the building screaming, and staff wasn't sure if the man was armed or not. Now, this was before the school had cameras or could afford proper security, so the school was wide open to something like this happening.
If the school can't provide proper security, there should be no school. Do not argue with me. No proper security. Ma'am, my child will not be attending this school. I am suing your school. I will cancel your school. That's not safe. I, as a student, would not feel safe without some type of security in the school. Oh, heck no. What?
The staff had done a sweep of all the hallways and classrooms and couldn't find him, so the dean instructed the teachers to resume teaching but to keep all the doors locked and to not let any students leave for any reasons.
Resume teaching? Girl, I'm jumping out the window. I'm taking my chair and I'm getting the out. I'm running home. 911, come. Where's the police? Have the police been called? This school is real stupid, real dumb. Get your life together. Oh my God.
The most disturbing part, however, is that one of the janitors working the night shift found the man sleeping in one of the storage closets near the back end of the school, and according to rumors that were spread by my peers, sticking out of his pocket was a .44 Magnum. The janitor must have done something stupid to wake him up, for example, leaving the closet door open, because by the time a police officer could arrive on the scene, the man was gone. My entire class, as far as I know, to this day, has no idea if this man was ever found, but I like to think that right now, he's being given the proper help that he needs.
Really? Oh my God, baby, stop. I'll lick your toes later. Chill. Oh my God. My boyfriend Barry, he's just so reckless. Like, he can't get enough of me. I'm sorry. Like, the cameras are on. So the next story on this list is scary field trip horror stories.
Back in high school, I took a mysteries and mythology type class, or something like that. I don't remember the name of the class.
Ah, look at the turtle!
It basically just had to do with
frog.
real life mysteries and creepy shit. I was into that kind of stuff. I was taking the class with a good friend, who I'll call Ben for this story. The teacher of the class took us on a field trip to a nearby abandoned village with an unknown past. The village was built in the early 1900s, but seems as though it had been quickly abandoned shortly after it was built. The bus ride there was about 20 minutes. All of us were glued to the bus windows as we pulled up some sketchy-looking, decrepit road cutting through dense forest. The road eventually led to a clearing. We were there. We stepped out onto the road, which had grass growing through the cracks. The grass surrounding was almost knee-high. Then there were the buildings. The tall, archaic brick buildings with the boarded-up windows all gave off such chilling vibes. The teacher lied.
Sir, I don't know what you think this is, but I'm going period. Give me back my money for that field trip that I just paid for. Because I know they made you pay for that field trip. You know how schools are.
Teacher lined all 20 of us up, counted heads, and then began leading the way. The point of this little field trip was to use the so-called skills we learned in class to see if we could put anything together about why the village may have been abandoned so long ago. Some of the buildings had holes in the walls to serve as entryways. There were even holes in the ground next to some of the buildings, seemingly dug to get into the basements of some of the buildings, which seemed creepy. There was one building though. It stood taller than any of the others. It just intrigued me the most. While the teacher was leading the group towards the village church, Ben and I decided to sneak off on our own to look for anything interesting. When we walked off in the direction of the tallest building, we saw a hole in the ground. It was dug by the back door of the building, which had been sealed off. In the hole was a ladder which led down to the concrete floor below. We both looked at each other and knew we had to do it. Ben climbed down first, then me.
Couldn't be me.
Luckily, this was just around the time Apple started putting flashlights on their phones, so we had a source of light. It was creepy down there. There were a couple of beer bottles, one graffiti tag on the wall, and dusty wooden planks everywhere. There was a wooden stairway which led up to complete darkness, since all windows and doors had been sealed shut from above. We had already gone as far as to enter the building, so we figured we'd go up the stairs too. I went first, and with each step, the creakiness of the 100-year-old wood made me feel as if I was going to fall through each and every step. Ben followed suit.
Then what?
This floor of the building was very tight. It seemed like there were many openings going off into different, smaller rooms. It was so dark in there you would never even guess it was daytime. Ben and I were honestly starting to get creeped out in there and agreed to go back outside. But just then, there was a noise in one of the tiny rooms.
And you run away!
A big rock hitting the concrete floor. A normal instinct would be to run, but Ben and I froze, locked eyes for a moment, then both tiptoed over to the opening of the room. We shined the lights into the room and ran. We ran back down the stairs and then up the rusty ladder back outside. We caught up to the group out of breath. We didn't say anything though to avoid getting in trouble. One of our classmates asked us what was wrong. We told him we snuck into one of the buildings, and in one of the rooms, when we shined the light into it, we saw 3 guys standing maybe 10 feet away from the doorway, facing Ben and I in a weird formation, as if they were waiting for us. As we continued following the group, we paid extra attention to the tall building we entered from the distance. And before leaving, we saw a person's face at one of the higher level windows that had not been boarded up.
Hell no!
We never told the teacher in fear of getting in trouble. We didn't know what to think.
Trouble?
Were those just homeless
That's
people
your
living
life.
there? Were they gang members in hiding? Ben freaks me out with his theory. He says they were ghosts of the people who once lived in the town. Still, the way the 3 guys were just hauntingly standing there so calmly, staring at us the moment we peeked our heads through that doorway, I still can't get that image out of my head. I may go back to that village one day, just to prove Ben's idea wrong.
Oh my god, I can't even watch, I'm scared. You really gotta... I'm gonna go back, just to prove you wrong. If you can't get the image out your head, why would you go back? Y'all just different. Like, people like that just be so different. Couldn't be me. What the hell? Anyways, on to the next. So this one is called Something Terrible Just Happened at My House. This isn't from Llama Arts. This is actually by 1C Entertainment. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, this one just like intrigued me. Let's see what this is about. This is our last animation too, guys. So I had to grab Liddy Poo. I don't know what I'm gonna name him, guys. What should I name him? Coco.
When I was 7, I had a really scary experience that I will never forget. I got up at 8 a.m., as usual. But as I stood up, I noticed something was different. It was very cold, and I felt like someone was watching me. When I turned to my sister's bed, she woke up, and I screamed. 2 heads hovered in the air, one of an older woman with long, dark hair and green eyes, the other of a bald, older man with blue eyes.
Man, look like
I screamed
Voldemort.
again and ran to my mother. I told her what happened and saw some man at the door. I can't recall what he looked like,
Oh my
but
God,
I
that's
screamed and hugged my mother when I saw him. I was crying at this point, and she looked at me as I pointed to the door, not explaining why. She instantly knew what I was upset about, and she spoke in the direction of the door. I don't know what she said. I was just too scared to listen, and all I wanted was to be somewhere else. Nothing like this happened to me again, until I was 13. I was coming from my friend's house and was really tired. I went to my room, turned the lights off, and went to bed. At 4 a.m., I suddenly woke up without a reason. When I looked at the door, I saw my mother looking at my sister. She had lifeless eyes, which reminded me of the incident that happened when I was 7 years old.
I'm not picking my nose.
The
I'm
heads
legit
had the same
and
lifeless
sick.
eyes as my mother, except her eyes were red and just looked evil. I knew it wasn't my mom. I hid under the blanket, praying that the thing would just go away. When I looked up, it was still there. I prayed again. Then it vanished. I mean, literally vanished. I saw it with my own eyes. That thing grew fainter and
Why
fainter
aren't you
until I
like-
couldn't see it anymore.
Why aren't you?
When it was gone, I ran to my parents and explained what happened. They believed me and said that if I couldn't go to sleep, I could watch TV or just stay up. I thanked them and went to the living room. Now, I'm 14, and I talked to my mother about the incident that happened 7 years ago. And when I told her what the heads looked like, she seemed very surprised and confused. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me that the description I gave perfectly matched that of my dead grandparents. I don't know if they were really my grandparents, or who that man on the door was.
Couldn't be me. Man, if I saw somebody that looked like my mama that ain't my mama, I swear to God, I am kicking old girl in her throat, or I am jumping out my goddamn window, breaking my ankles, and legit running on my broken ankle. You will not catch me dead. Honestly, if I was actually in a situation like that though, I'd probably be the type to freeze up and then get possessed. I'd be like, ah. Like, I hope you guys enjoyed the first video of the series of my Spooky Time Tuesdays. If you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below any other videos you'd like to see from me. I'm sure to take them in, especially if it's spooky related. Also, if you made it this far, comment down below what video scared you the most. Me personally, I think the school field trip scared me the most, just because how he animated it. That one for sure scared me the most. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next. Peace.